Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're pulling back the curtain on something that, well, it touches pretty much every culture, everywhere. Urban legends.
It's fascinating, isn't it, how these stories about things that might just be whispers or shadows?
Or maybe not even real in the usual sense.
Exactly. They're everywhere, and they're not new either.
No, definitely not. They've been terrifying us, fascinating us for ages, long before the internet could make a ghost story go viral in seconds.
Absolutely. You know, these legends can feel very modern sometimes with their settings, roads, abandoned buildings, that kind of thing.
Right.
But they really tap into feels that are ancient.
Right.
Universal, really.
So for this deep dive, our source material comes from this fantastic article looking at international spooky legends and also this huge list, really comprehensive, compiling tons of known urban myths.
Quite the collection to draw from.
Yeah. So our mission today is to really unpack what these sources offer. We want to pull out the most, well, chilling and intriguing stories. Look for patterns, maybe common themes across different cultures. And, see what these persistent tales might tell us about our shared human psychology, what really scares us.
Sort of exploring the global landscape of fear, you could say, one unsettling story at a time, using these sources as our guide.
Okay, let's unpack this then. When you look across cultures, one figure seems to pop up again and again. Let's start with a classic traveler, the White Lady.
A remarkably persistent archetype. Often, though not always, she's tied to some kind of tragedy.
Right. The article specifically mentions her in the Philippines. They have a local name, Caparosa, but apparently White Lady is widely understood too.
Makes sense.
I was struck by that anecdote in the source about a friend cycling in Cagayan. Sees this, glowing figure in white and poof, she vanishes.
Yeah, that would definitely make you pedal faster. It's that abrupt disappearance, isn't it? Leaves no easy explanation.
And the most famous Filipino version, according to the sources, is the White Lady of Bel Drive near Manila.
Oh, yeah, that's a well-known one.
The story is she died in a car accident right there on that road. And the article highlights these really chilling accounts from taxi drivers, like one who apparently saw her face become bloody and bruised after he picked her up.
Ooh, that's intense.
Or others just glimpse her in the rearview mirror, sometimes causing accidents themselves. That link to cars feels like a modern twist, on an older fear of roads or places.
It really does. Adapting the legend to the tech of the time. And we see that again when we shift north to Canada.
The White Lady of Montmorency Falls near Quebec City. Her story is just heartbreaking.
Yeah, the fiancé died in battle.
And she was so distraught she jumped from the falls wearing her wedding dress.
And the source adds that interesting historical note. This story apparently predates Queen Victoria making white wedding dresses the standard.
Huh. So the white dress detail resonated even before it was the norm.
Seems like it. There's even a nearby waterfall named after her, Chute de la Dame Blanche.
Moving south now into Mexico, we find a different, maybe more visceral version. La Llorona, the Wailer.
A powerful figure, her traditional tale in the sources.
Yeah.
She married a colonizer, right?
Yeah, and he betrayed her, left her for someone richer, and in this fit of rage, she drowned her own children.
Just awful. And now she's cursed to wander near water, crying for them forever.
That detail about haunting water sources, crying for her kids, it's potent.
It is. And the sources mention this legend isn't just a scary story. It often serves a practical purpose, Parents using it to warn kids away from playing alone near rivers or lakes. Ties the fear directly to a real danger.
Makes sense. Okay, crossing the Caribbean now to Trinidad and Tobago. This brings us to La Diablesse, or La Diablesse.
Ah, this one adds a fascinating darker layer.
Right. She didn't just suffer tragedy. She sold her soul for eternal use.
That totally transforms her. She goes from pitiable victim to, active malevolence.
And her appearance is key. Beautiful, yeah. But the hat hides a bruised face.
And the long dress hides a cow's hoof on one leg. Classic demonic trait.
Exactly. She's temptation personified.
Yeah.
Pops up at crossroads, cemeteries, dances, luring men to their deaths.
The source even gives a shout out to a local team member for sharing that specific version.
Nice. And finally, let's jump way over to Japan for Kuchisake Onna, the slit-mouthed woman.
Ooh, yeah.
Her appearance at first might seem a bit like a white lady, maybe, but the horrors in the details.
That terrifying gash ear to ear, often hidden by a surgical mask, which, as the source notes,
Feels a little too familiar these days.
yeah. And encountering her is like this grim little game. Or a riddle, almost.
Right. She comes up to you, asks if she's beautiful.
If you say no,
You die.
if you say yes, she pulls off the mask,
Mm.
shows you the wound, and asks again.
And if you say no, then you die again.
If you say yes this time.
She cuts your mouth to match hers.
Yeah.
Not exactly a great option.
No. The sources do note a couple of reported escapes, though.
Like giving an unexpected, confusing answer.
Yeah. Or apparently bribing her. Cash or candy, the source says. It's such a bizarre mix, isn't it? Horror and almost bureaucratic procedure.
So when you look at all these figures together, the sorrowful Belite Drive ghost, the tragic Lady of Montmorency,
The vengeful La Llorona, the demonic La Joblesse, and the riddle-wielding Kuchisakiona.
what strikes me is how this, common female ghost archetype takes on such wildly different forms.
Totally. Reflecting diverse cultural fears, different narratives around tragedy, womanhood, danger.
They're global, often linked to water or misfortune,
Yeah.
but so varied in their actual nature.
Absolutely. And moving from these figures tied to specific places or tragic ends.
We find spirits who are constantly on the move. The vanishing hitchhiker, another legend that seems to have a passport to everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that's such a widespread, instantly recognizable trope.
The core story is almost always the same, isn't it? Driver picks up a young woman, deserted road, late at night.
She might seem a bit off, maybe her clothes are dated, asks for a ride, usually to her home address.
But when the driver gets there, poof, she's just vanished from the car.
And the punchline often is the driver goes to the house.
Finds out she died years ago. Sometimes in an accident right where they picked her up.
It plays on that vulnerability, driving alone on dark roads and the sudden impossible disappearance from inside a locked car.
Exactly, tapping into that fear of the uncanny just, interrupting the mundane.
The USA has countless variations, of course, but Chicago's Resurrection Mary is probably the most famous one mentioned in the sources.
Her legend goes way back to the 1930s.
Right. She reportedly flags drivers down near the Willowbrook Ballroom.
Asks for a ride and disappears when they reach Resurrection Cemetery.
And her story is quite specific. She was a hit-and-run victim, leaving a dance at that ballroom.
So she's stuck, repeating that final tragic journey between joy and her resting place.
Pretty much. Then South Africa offers Marie Charlotte Roux in Uniondale. Died in a car crash with her fiancé, late 60s.
Similar story, right? Appears on the road, asks for a ride, vanishes.
Yeah, and the source includes that really specific, chilling account.
Oh.
A driver and a policeman went back to where she vanished.
And reportedly saw the car door open and close on its own.
They apparently suggested wind, maybe, as an explanation, which...
Adds that touch of rationalization trying to grasp the impossible, yeah.
And the list mentions a slightly different take, too. The Phantom Traveler of Black Horse Lake.
Oh, right. This isn't someone asking for a ride in the car.
No, reportedly a Native American man who suddenly appears on the windshield.
And then vanishes. Without leaving a scratch.
Exactly. Much more direct, terrifying apparition.
These variations just highlight how that core idea, a ghost on the road, can manifest so differently. Spectral passenger, sudden image.
It's not just human ghosts either that populate these global legends. There are also legendary creatures, cryptids.
Let's start with something a bit more subtle. Ghost kitties.
Even the name is kind of spooky. That feeling, invisible paw prints or something soft brushing your leg when nothing's there.
The sources spotlight Jerome, Arizona. Former mining town, now literally a ghost town.
And visitors report phantom felines, spots like the Grand Hotel, which was a hospital.
And the Mile High Inn, formerly a brothel.
The legend tied to the inn is really vivid. Theory is a specific cat returned with the spirit of Madame Jenny Banter after her dark fate there.
So reports include seeing cats darting around, then just vanishing.
Yeah, or hearing phantom meows, even the sound of claws sharpening. Creepy.
Down in Savannah, Georgia, another city just steeped in ghost stories. The Davenport House Museum reportedly has a white and orange tabby ghost cat.
And the interesting detail there, the sources note, is it's often only young children who see it, interact with it.
That's a common motif in folklore, isn't it? Kids being more sensitive to the unseen.
It is. And we can't talk ghost cats without mentioning Washington, D.C.'s demon cat, D.C. for short.
Right. The legend says it appears before presidential elections, national tragedies.
At the White House or the Capitol building. Supposedly even before Lincoln's assassination.
The White House apparently dismisses it, but...
But, some stories just stick around, official denials or not.
Okay, shifting gears slightly to a different kind of cat legend. Phantom cats.
Right. These aren't spectral pets. These are reports of unnervingly big cats.
Like cougars, Panthers
Hmm.
appearing in places where they definitely should not be found naturally.
Australia has an incredible number of these sightings.
Okay.
In the bush, the mountains.
And the explanation offered for the Gippsland phantom cats is wild. Descendants of cougars released by U.S. airmen during World War II.
That's the story. Apparently, they show up just long enough for blurry photos, then vanish when proper searches begin.
Similar legends in Britain too, right? Beast of Bodmin Moor, Beast of Exmoor.
Exactly. And the list includes the incredibly specific Catman of Greenock.
Oh yeah, what was his deal?
Reportedly eats rats and lives among wildcats. Gives it a distinctly unsettling, almost grotesque edge compared to the other big cat sightings.
Definitely different. Okay, from phantom felines to, well, the most famous bipedal cryptids, Bigfoot and his global relatives.
Ugh, Sasquatch. Fun fact, October 10th is apparently National Sasquatch Awareness Day.
Did not know that. Bigfoot himself, the classic big, hairy, upright figure, mostly Pacific Northwest. They even have the Oregon Bigfoot Festival.
He's an icon of North American wilderness mystery, for sure. But as the sources show, this idea of a large, unknown hominid, it's global.
In the Himalayas, you've got the Yeti.
While the Western idea, the abominable snowman, is famous,
The sources trace its history way back. 12th century written accounts, at least.
and the traditional Sherpa version sounds closer to Sasquatch, really. Over 6 feet tall, upright, reddish-brown fur.
And that detail about the 2014 DNA findings,
Yeah.
suggesting some hair samples matched Paleolithic Himalayan polar bears.
Yeah, as the source notes, that's maybe even cooler than finding a Bigfoot cousin. Hints at ancient relict species potentially still out there.
Then China gives us the Yeren,
Resembles Sasquatch and Yeti, but often described as more aggressive.
raiding villages, carrying off villagers. That's intense.
And there's an interesting historical note from the sources here. Accounts of the Yeren were suppressed during the Maoist government's push against superstitions.
Wow. But reports continued.
Yeah, and still do, particularly in Hubei province. Shows how legends can persist, even against official efforts to erase them.
And finally, the Almas, found in the Caucasus, Pamir, Altai Mountains.
The sources note that in some Mongolian traditions, it's seen as a deity, not even referred to by name.
Belief spread into Russia, too. And that big list also includes other North American Bigfoot types, showing the variety just within one region.
Right, the Fook monster, Honey Island swamp monster, Momo the monster, the skunk ape.
The sheer prevalence of these legends, big, unknown creatures in remote wilderness.
Feels deeply connected to our fear of the wild, doesn't it? The untamed edges of the map, maybe even a primal sense of not being alone out there.
Moving into more modern territory now, but no less unsettling. The Chupacabra.
Meaning goat sucker. A pretty recent legend, really. Emerged around 1995.
And it has a very specific origin point, detailed in the sources. Canovanas, Puerto Rico.
Right. It started with actual livestock being found dead, drained of blood, puncture holes in the neck.
The sources even mention the town's mayor organizing a safari to hunt the thing.
Yeah, imagine that. The initial descriptions from Puerto Rico were often, well, alien-like, reptilian, sometimes with spines down its back.
But the version that got popular in the USA looks quite different, as the sources highlight.
That's right. Stateside, it's frequently reported as this strange, hairless dog-like creature, often identified, actually, as a mangy coyote.
And photos of dead ones, claimed to be chupacabras, have turned out to be coyotes with severe mange.
Yeah. And the sources offer a practical, though still kind of grim, explanation for that.
Which is?
Mangy coyotes are weakened. They're more likely to target easy prey like caged livestock instead of hunting wild animals.
So while the mystery of the chupacabra became legendary, the initial event dead livestock was very real, sparked a terrifying explanation.
It's a perfect example, really, how real, unsettling things can quickly become the seed for widespread folklore, especially mixed with fear of the unknown.
That comprehensive list of urban legends we're working from, It's just massive. Dozens more. We obviously can't go deep on all of them.
No way.
But I wanted to pull out just a few more examples just to highlight the incredible range and variety of these stories globally.
It's worth sampling just how creative and specific these fears can get. Yeah.
You have the really visceral stuff, like the ankle-slicing car thief,
Oh.
hiding under your car, literally cutting your ankles. Ugh.
Or body horror like the spider bite. The bite bursts. Hundreds of spiders emerge. Nightmare fuel.
Totally. Or Japan's tech girl, cut in half by a train, moves on her hands, slices victims the same way.
Then there are the ritualistic ones, playing on performance and consequence, like Bloody Mary in the mirror.
Or that bizarre elevator game. Follows specific steps in an elevator to reach an alternate dimension. Weird.
Very. Fears tied to the digital age are there now, too. Like Slender Man. Started as an internet meme, right?
Yeah, this tall, thin, featureless guy stalking kids.
Yeah.
Creepy. Or the Hat Man shadow figure trench coat fedora.
Often linked to sleep paralysis or certain medications, apparently. Gaining traction online, TikTok.
Yeah. Then fears tied to specific objects or places.
Yeah.
The cursed crying boy painting.
The haunted debug box.
The unsettling hands resist him painting where figures supposedly move.
And the really regional ones, like the Jersey Devil, New
Mm.
Jersey Pine Barrens. That description is wild.
Hooves, bat wings, horns, a scream.
Yeah. Classic home invasion fears, too. The babysitter and the man upstairs. Calls coming from inside the house.
Or the licked hand. Girl thinks her dog's licking her hand, turns out it's a killer under the bed. Shivers.
And unique international schoolyard fears, like Madame Koi Koi in Africa. Boarding school ghost, red heels, haunting dorms and toilets.
And that pervasive fear of things not being what they seem. Cover-ups, like the vanishing hotel room.
Right. Mother disappears, hotel denies she was ever there, suggesting a cover-up, maybe for plague or something.
It's also fascinating how some legends get investigated, even debunked in the sources. But the stories just persist.
Totally. The list mentions examples like the stats around the 27 Club being disproven.
Scuba divers scooped up by a water bomber being false.
Specific debunkings around James Dean's car curse, fan death in Korea, the Jado rocket car myth.
That Phil Collins in the Air Tonight story. Skeleton in a tree. Ultimate Warrior's death theories.
Walt Disney's cryo chamber myth, the well-to-hell audio hoax. The list goes on.
That persistence, even after debunking, that's a key part of what makes them legends, isn't it?
Absolutely. They resonate on a level deeper than just, factual truth.
So reflecting on this huge collection, white ladies, hitchhikers, cryptids, all these specific unsettling figures, what really stands out is the sheer variety, but also the remarkable similarity in the types of fears they tap into, globally.
Exactly. The sources note how hard it is to pinpoint exact origins for many. Are they independent creations reflecting universal psychology? Or did they spread?
Chupacabra clearly spread
Yeah.
from Puerto Rico, yeah. But the white lady, much harder to say definitively. Maybe that's because, as one source kind of teases, some of them aren't legends after all.
Well, that adds another layer to the whole mystery, doesn't it?
We've taken quite a deep dive into the global landscape of urban legends today, exploring figures from, mournful ghosts and phantom hitchhikers to cryptids and really bizarre creatures.
And it's clear that regardless of language, culture, geography, we share this common vocabulary of fear. It manifests in these incredibly similar, often terrifying stories.
They're modern folklore, really, adapting to new settings, new tech, but their roots are ancient.
These tales, passed down, reshaped, they tap into those primal anxieties, don't they? Fear of the dark, being alone, loss, violation, the unknown lurking just out of sight.
Or even within ourselves.
So it raises an important question for you. Listen, considering how universally these unsettling stories appear, what does that tell you about the fundamental nature of human fear?
Our shared anxieties, and why we continue to tell ourselves these spine-chilling tales even when the lights are on.
Something to think about.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.